Alright, YouTube, this video goes out to the Christians, just a brief list of several things that Christians and Muslims also now say to me that they believe bothers me, that they believe have some sort of mystical power over me, and so forth. I wanted to explain this and get this out of the way. Even though I know that they will ignore this video, and many of them probably will never see it because they find one of my videos in some related feed on YouTube and they watch that one video, then they message me or comment thinking that they know all of my beliefs and so forth. But this is for the Christians in hopes that they will at least attempt to understand this. These are some of the things that they say to me that they think have power or bother me that don't, and I'll explain why. The first is when a Christian or a Muslim, to a lesser extent, they're getting more active online now because their religion is dying out in the Western world, thankfully. And they'll come to me and say, well, my brother was a Satanist, my friend was a Satanist, my girlfriend I used to be a Satanist, or a pagan, or a Wiccan, or practice witchcraft, or the occult in some way. They'll say, but they reconverted to Christianity and found Jesus, or they found the true light and path of Islam, or something like this. The idea, I guess, is that I should feel bad because somebody left Satanism or paganism or one of these paths. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Firstly, Satanism is not like Islam. We don't punish, they behead apostates or they ostracize them. And I should speak for myself because I don't belong to all satanic groups at the same time. I do not care if an individual is satanic or pagan or Wiccan or whatever. I don't care if they leave. I feel bad for them. I feel like maybe they've been fooled or manipulated or gypped out of doing what they wanted to do. But if they've had a traumatic experience or they've looked at their path, they said, well, it's not really for me, I'm going back to being a Christian or whatever. If that's what makes them happy, I don't care. Because the root of Satanism itself is doing what you want. Well, if they want to be a Christian, who am I to say, well, you shouldn't join those nasty Christians? I can say, I think your idea is retarded and here's why. If I feel that way, I'll speak my mind if I feel it's necessary. But most of the time they have some valid reason they want to go back to Christianity or Islam, and I don't care about this. It's not like some sort of wild competition where each and every soul must be reaped for the devil or something, and the loss of even one soul gets me 10 lashes by Satan when I get to hell or something. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I put Satanism and paganism and the occult out there for people to peruse, to study, if they wish to do so. If they wish for more information, they can talk to me. I'm releasing literary works on these same subjects, but it's not a huge competition. Do I dislike, generally speaking, Christianity and Islam? Yes. I dislike Judaism, I dislike Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, and so forth. But if someone wants to be part of those groups, that's their choice. It's ultimately their choice. I'm not going to sit there and cry and feel bad because somebody decided that they'd rather worship a dead carpenter. It's just not my bag. Another thing is, this is one of the funnier ones, telling me that when you die, you will bow before Jesus. Every tongue will confess, and so will you. On your deathbed, you will cry out to Jesus for mercy, or Muhammad, or Allah, or any of these other deities that they imagine. And there are multiple groups that tell me this, so I'm not sure. When I'm dying, am I supposed to cry out to Allah or Jehovah? I'm really not sure because they're giving me conflicting messages here. They tell me that I will cry out when I die, that after I die I'll be repentant, I'll beg God for forgiveness. The problem is this: I don't believe in those gods. If I don't believe in those gods, then this really doesn't affect me when people say it, because I don't believe that when I die I'm going to stand in front of some white throne of judgment where Jehovah will be sitting there judging my life. I don't believe when I die that Jesus and Joseph Smith will be there either, because I'm not a Mormon. I don't believe that Muhammad's going to judge me, or Allah's going to judge me, or any of these other deities are going to judge me. I believe in a sort of roundabout cosmic way, I do believe in a sort of reincarnation cycle or afterlife. My own views are more complicated than those put forth by any of these singular religions. But I don't believe that it's going to involve any form of judgment. Now, the Christians and Muslims will look at this and they'll say, well, that's just delusional. Bad people can't possibly expect anything good when they die. I would ask why, other than the moral judgments written down by their founders in the first place. But they believe this, and they'll call me out, and they'll say, well, that's insane, that's sick, immoral, you're wrong. They never prove that I'm wrong. They never give me any real solid evidence outside of their books that I'm wrong, or outside of some philosophy they dreamed up themselves. But I don't believe in their gods, so I have no reason to fear their gods. It doesn't make me suddenly start to tremble and shake and foam at the mouth and worry, oh my God, am I going to hell when I die? I better praise Jesus just in case. I don't worry about these things. I don't believe in these mythical beings that other people worship. It doesn't interest me. It doesn't convince me. These groups have not convinced me of their veracity, so I have no reason to worry about dying and being judged by God. By their God, I shouldn't say. Another thing is spouting verses from the Quran or Bible as though the verses themselves had some sort of divine power. Like simply, then there are people who believe this. This is an older thing, but there are still people who do this. Like in the old times, a person was sick. They thought they were possessed. They thought they had something wrong with them, and people would stand around and read the Bible, because they felt that even if the prayers weren't answered, it was at least good to, number one, appease the Lord, number two, well, the Lord might see your penance, because you're sitting there for 5 hours reading a boring book, and take mercy on this poor sinner. And so they believe that the Bible, or the Quran, or whatever, that the actual words written down, if put down in their right form, have power. The problem here is twofold. The first problem is that they're almost invariably writing in English. Of course, the Bible and the Quran were not originally written in English, so that divorces them of all linguistic quality. Beyond that, I don't believe that the majority of the things written in the Quran or Bible are even historically accurate, or philosophically accurate, or even morally comprehensive. I don't even believe necessarily that most of the stuff written there is good morality to be following. I don't believe that any real God, any real merciful creator, or any real logical creator would have inspired that kind of nonsense that you find in these books. So when people spam my videos with Bible verses, or they message me, and they do this more frequently now too, and they leave a 10-paragraph long message of nothing but Bible verses or Quranic verses, usually with links to apologetic websites where they want me to go and read more and try to convert and be a right person or whatever, I lose interest very quickly. I don't even read it all because it's not necessary. I have already read the Bible. I have already read the Quran. I've already read all of the Hadiths. I've already read all of these books. I don't care about them. So to me, they have absolutely no power. They don't bother me. It bothers me when people spam me, but not because it has some sort of cosmic mystic influence on my soul and makes me feel guilty or ashamed. It simply pisses me off when my inbox is full of spam. Saying that they'll pray for me. This is another one. You'd think by now, since I've been on YouTube since 2007, of course, this account dates to 2008. You'd think that by now the Christians would understand and the Muslims would understand I have already been prayed for by these groups, by every possible sect imaginable, Shiites and Sunnis and Alawites, and Unitarians and Episcopals and Catholics and Baptists and Pentecostals and Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons and every other possible, Mennonites, every possible group within both of these religions. I have been prayed for literally tens of thousands of times just by YouTube subscribers. That doesn't even take into consideration people I've talked to on Facebook, people I've talked to in chat rooms, people I've talked to through Blogspot, people I've talked to in real life. I was going to church for years, and all sorts of people have prayed for me, and it didn't do anything. Now that leads me to a startling conclusion, that their prayers were not answered because their God does not exist. and has no power over me, and has no power over them other than the credence that they give to this mythological mumbo-jumbo. I don't believe in their gods, so therefore their prayers are utterly meaningless in my life, and their prayers aren't working. You'd think that their gods were magically either impotent or not there. That's the conclusion that I certainly came to. Another thing, this is the final one, and I'm sure that others have gotten this as well, telling you just try it out. Try praying to Jesus. I made a video about this that most people thought was hilarious. Try praying to Jesus. Try pray, and the Muslims are worse because they try to trick you into a specific type. By the way, if a Muslim ever tells you to recite a prayer, don't do it until you look it up. Because there are certain prayers in Islam, and it is considered that you become a Muslim when you recite them. So don't tell these people, oh, okay, I'll recite it. Don't tell them, oh, I just recited it and felt nothing, because then the only goal they have is to make you a Muslim. Because to their, it's like the Mormons when they baptize the dead. The idea is it's sort of an unwilling conversion. Then, if you stop being a Muslim, you're an apostate and you're hellbound and even worse sinner, and they can, ostracize you or in some countries behead you. And also they can say, oh, I got this stupid non-believer to become a Muslim. Now they're going to go to paradise and be a Muslim forever whether they want to or not. And they actually think that this is reality. I don't want to just try to be a Christian because I've already tried it. I've gone to Catholic churches, I've gone to Unitarian churches, I've gone to Baptist churches, I've gone to non-aligned but obviously Protestant. About the only ones I haven't gone to. I've never gone to a Mormon service, and I've never gone to what the fuck is it called? I've gone to Catholic service. I forget the name. I've never gone to a Mormon service, and there are a few other Orthodox. I've never gone to an Orthodox service, and the Orthodox Christians largely don't seem to care what religious path I follow, and don't seem to care if you convert to the Orthodoxy. So I'll give them a little bit of respect there, although I have had Orthodox Christians try and do that. When you tell me to just try out Christianity, I will immediately come out with, been there, done that. When you tell me to just try being a Muslim, I will tell you, if I was a Christian, and these are supposedly people of the book who are blessed just not quite as much as Muslims, and I didn't like it, and I didn't feel anything, and I see no reason to return to it, why would I want to be a Muslim? Islam is just an adaptation of Judaism and Christianity for the most part. It's the same God that they supposedly worship. Their moral laws are vaguely similar, other than they've got some Sabaean rituals and some Zoroastrian rituals thrown in there. I don't want to try to be a member of your religion any more than I'm sure the majority of these Christians and Muslims, if I asked them, okay, well, I'll try being a Christian for a week, I'll go to church. You've got to try being a Satanist. I guarantee none of them will do it, because to them that would be a sin. Well, it would be a sin against my own conscience and logic. To lower myself to the point where I temporarily take up your religion that I know is wrong. To me, it would be a grave affront to my own intellect to bow down before your Lord next Sunday, or do Hajj, or any of these other things, knowing full well that your God does not exist. I know that for a fact. I know that your God isn't real. I've already studied enough about your religion to know your religion isn't even based in the tradition that you consider it to be. Christianity is largely a ripoff of Judaism, of course, and Roman ritualism. Judaism is largely taken from Babylon and from the Sumerians, so if I wanted to worship the god you worship, I'd probably be worshiping Sol Invictus, or I'd be worshiping Mithra, or I'd be worshiping Enki. I wouldn't be worshiping Jesus, a latter-day prophetic figure, a monk ascetic from Iran or from Egypt. I certainly wouldn't be worshiping Muhammad. Muhammad banged a 9-year-old girl. You can deny it all you want, but he did. Put his tongue in little boys' mouths to try to heal them of sickness and draw demons out of them, and instructed his followers to drink camel piss. That's not the sort of individual I'm going to trust with my so-called eternal salvation. It's just not going to happen. I'll give Jesus a little bit more respect because he did go into the temples and start beating on people, which I think is pretty hardcore. And it's pretty cool how he used magic, the occult, because he wasn't calling on God at the time, he was doing it in his own power, to curse a fig tree and cause it to wither away and turn to dust. This is occultism. This is what I study. I do things by my own power, by studying symbols and sonic magic and so forth. I have no need of your God's power. I've got my own power. I don't care about your God. So all of these things that Christians and Muslims think bother me or make me feel bad or guilty and more likely to join their religions, actually they've sort of pushed me in the opposite direction because they just let me know how deluded these people are, that after this many years of constantly talking about Satan and all of these other things and the occult, uh, and atheism and Wicca and paganism, after all of these years, do you honestly think that some random YouTuber, most of these people don't even show their real face, is going to make me convert to Christianity or Islam? The Pope could come on my channel and send me a message and say, "My son, you have been grievously misled by the Satanists and by the pagans. I beseech you in the name of Christ eternal and the Son of the Virgin Mary, I beseech you to seek after the true light. I pray for you, my son and my brother, that you would find the light of the dove of Jesus Christ, and you would be free of all of these evil spirits." Well, guess what? The Pope could do that, and it wouldn't work. I'd probably say, "Oh, cool, the Pope messaged me." But I wouldn't convert. Because even if I thought he was a good guy, I still think he's completely delusional. He actually believes that this carpenter 2,000 years ago is the reason he's on Earth, and the reason why Satan isn't running through the streets with his dick out, swinging it in circles and shooting lava everywhere. Uh, I don't care about your books, your prayers, your gods. They are meaningless. And I'd like people to remember one thing. When the Spanish colonists and conquistadors and so forth first encountered the native people of Mesoamerica. And I've studied the archaeology of the Caribbean. It includes materials written by Christopher Columbus himself, by the way, because he actually did apparently know how to write, which was a rare skill back then. Apparently, the way in which the colonists viewed the rituals of the natives, because we've got firsthand accounts of their ideas about the natives, and we've got semi firsthand accounts through scribes and through monks who were bilingual about what the natives thought about the Spanish. They were both mystified by how the other group worshipped. The Spanish said, "Oh, it's weird. They worship these trees and these snakes and these little idols." By the way, the natives had these little wooden and stone idols. They'd put them on a chair, and the shaman would come up. Everyone would get stoned as part of these rituals. Then the shaman would go behind the chair and start wiggling it around and speaking in a loud voice. They actually had little, almost loudspeaker systems to do this, almost like a Gilligan's Island stunt. And everyone would be mystified, and they'd think the idol was alive. Well, guess what? It's the same thing with the Christians. Going to that one temple there where the priests go in and they bring out the everlasting fires from below Jerusalem's temple, and the talking snake and all of these other stories, they're the same thing. They are literally the same thing. It's silliness and superstition. These people don't have a leg to stand on. When you look and you say, well, the religions that actually made some sense, at least in a symbolic manner, like the Hellenes and so forth, they're all extinct. Only neo-pagans practice those paths now. So I don't care about these things. I've studied too much about these religions to want to join them because I know that they're evil and I know that they're crazy and deluded. I follow a satanic path. Again, Satanism as a philosophy, not a religion. I don't worship the devil. There might be a cosmic force you can call Satan, but it's not an intelligent being in the divine sense. Of course, again, the joy of Satan, people think it's a reptilian alien. To me, that makes actually more sense than what's written in the Bible. So that's about all. These people are not going to convert. Don't worry, you're never going to see Styx Hexenhammer converts to Christ and all the Satanism videos disappear and suddenly this is replaced by a cross. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be replaced by a little stone vagina, a little model of Mecca and the fucking Kaaba or anything like that. It's just not going to happen. Peace out.